Hey, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're doing our shaky cam interior walkthrough in a 2020 Volkswagen Jetta. This is in the R Line package, and it comes with this. To be really frank, the only thing that makes this car fun is that gear shift. It is otherwise a pretty standard sedan. Competes well in this class. It's a decent car. It's got a lot of high points. But these, cars in this category just aren't known as fun boxes. They are kind of your everyday get the job done vehicles. But this makes it fun. Anyway, if that's not your thing, if you aren't into shifting gears, it's still a good car, and there's lots to talk about. But for me, that's where it's at. All right. So let's just get started. We'll do our quick walkthrough. A lot of this is pretty standard Volkswagen, so if you've seen some of my VW videos before, you will recognize a lot of this. So let's go over it. Starting over here you got a door handle and then your locks up there. Down here you have side mirrors right there. Windows. So word I'm trying to come up with, windows. So here's your windows down here and your window lock there. So think of this as like your firewall. Wow, that was a terrible joke. All right, yeah, that wasn't even a nerd joke. That was just dumb. Over here, this pops the trunk. So you jump up the deck lid with that. Down there, in true German style, that is the pull handle to open the hood. And then right here's your lighting. So pretty straightforward. Over here, you have fog lamps all the way. Let me see if I can get to it. There you go. So if you turn the lights on like that and then you pull it, you end up with fog lamps. If you have them on auto and you pull it, you get fog lamps. If you have it off and you can't do anything. But if you have the marker lights on, you can still do fog lamps. So pretty neat. Just remember, you pull on it to get those. You don't try to turn it towards it like I initially did, because that is your first thought is, oh, that's how I get to the fog lamps, because it's right there, right? It seems like that should how it should be. 3 pedals in this one. I'm gonna keep coming to that. Because like I said. All right, on the steering wheel, you got your little R line here to let you know that this is the R Sport, the Sport Edition, the R Line. R Line. Looking at the steering wheel over here, you have mostly your cruise control stuff. Here's volume control down here, and then up here this turns it on and off. This actually brings up the safety menu right there, and then you can go through the menu and you can change things or alter them as you wish and whatever. And then mostly I've been looking at that because that's what I want, that's what I like. Over here, set, resume, up and down for that, and cancel in the middle. This vehicle is not equipped with adaptive cruise. Over here you can get it, it's just not in this particular model. Over here is mostly infotainment and also driver information screens. So you use this to go through those driver information screens right there. Not a lot to show you, so I'm not really gonna linger on them, but that's how you do it. And then you'll see with this button you can go back and forth either way, and you're okay in the middle. And then this will go up and down with them. So if you have those, like I'm in this menu right now, so I can jump through some of the car status stuff, fuel economy, that kind of thing, how much range is left on this tank, etc, etc. So pretty cool. And then this changes your view right here. Here's voice recognition here. So the view is basically that. It brings up a different menu depending on where you are in those menus there, but most of them you can access here, or like that one right there you actually get with this. So this skips tracks and or stations. This, you can set this to station pre-select or to skip station by station. It defaults to station favorites. Over here is your washer wipers. So you know, the usual up to for washers or for wipers, pull it towards you to wash. This sets the speed on the intermittent washer. Over here is lighting, so you got signal turns up and down, and then you have your brights right there, and that's it. Then looking at the instrument cluster, this zeroes out your trip, for those wondering what that is. Now let me turn that view off. When you use the view button, by the way, one of the big reasons to have it is when you bring up a menu, it will go away after a while. The view button will keep you there, so you can kind of cancel it out or hold it. Now, anyway, back to this. Engine heat down there, tachometer right there, fuel right there, speedometer right there, Canuck miles per hour in the middle. This is what's been changing with the driver information screens. Down here mostly stays the same. This tells me I have cruise control on, but nothing's set. Here's the outside temperature, trip. You can bring up the odometer down here and a few other things just by selecting stuff up here. So, you know, what you change up here can change a couple of the things down here. So that's about it. That's pretty much the instrument cluster, but I love the look of it. So sitting back, you can see it from my perspective. Put my nose right on the screen, and you can see it from my perspective. It's really visible, very easy to see. So that's cool. Kind of hurts your eyes to do that. Anyway. All right. Over here, we have the infotainment system. It's pretty straight up. We've seen this several times before. I am currently on the menu, so when you hit this button, this is what you end up with. You have some quick buttons over here. Those are pretty self-explanatory. App requires you have a phone tethered, so you have to have your Android Auto, Mirror Link, etc. You have to have something plugged in for this to do anything. Otherwise, you're on this menu, and that's about what you got other than radio and media. This is a voice recognition button, so this is useful mostly for passenger because the driver has it on the steering wheel. This is good, like if the passenger wants to do something and they use it, they have access there. Right here you have most of what you can do. Vehicle settings here are kind of nice. Climate control is okay, but it's really kind of pointless because the hard buttons right down there are much easier to use. App Connect if you have a phone tethered, and so on. And then that's all you got at the other end. So legal notices. So anyway, so most of this should be pretty obvious. This is vehicle status. So this is what's going on with your vehicle versus this being settings for this stuff plus some vehicle settings. So there you go. Pretty simple. Down here you got Duke's lights. You got a couple of vents, and then we have some bun warmers, which also turns on the steering wheel heat. I'm not a big fan of this. The steering wheel heat has to be on, but here's a caveat. It only has to be on when you're pushing this, right? If you look up here, that pops up, and I can turn that off now, which is cool because I don't like steering wheel heat most of the time. I like it to warm it up if it's been really, really cold, and that's it. I don't want to keep it hot. I just want it to be warmed up. Anyway, here the rest of these are pretty obvious, defrosts and stuff. Bun warmers for the passenger and recirc and so on. And then over here, you can see this is a dual zone, and you can set it. You can change your temperatures. Right now it's off, but you can change those temperatures as you wish. Here's the auto button, and then this shuts it all off. I have it turned off right now because I don't want it to blow into the mic. Down here, this is a nice rubberized tray. This is where I've been throwing my phone. It sits in there really beautifully, and it doesn't move around much. You have a couple of fast charging ports, USB-Cs, and that's about it. But it's a nice placement and nice setup. So I like that. Here's the push button start. This being a manual transmission, you do have to have the clutch pushed in for the vehicle to start. You can run just the accessories without that though. Here is the parking brakes, pull to set, push to release. Here's the gear shift. The only thing to know is in Volkswagen style, you have to push it down to get to reverse. Otherwise, you can only go into first, so you can't get over to reverse without shoving the shifter down. So other than that, it's pretty straightforward shifting. Beautiful, beautiful transmission, by the way. Over here is your 12-volt plug. Button's not being used. Park brake I already showed you. Eco is just eco driving mode. Doesn't change much. I didn't notice any kind of real difference there. I mean, there might be something different, but I didn't notice it. Fuel economy seemed about the same regardless. Did really good on fuel economy in this. Going over the doing my highway tests. I don't do city tests anymore. It's kind of pointless. I never seem to either match the manufacturer's number, so I either better it or get worse than it, and it all comes down to how the testing operates. And the city mileage testing is impossible to replicate in the real world. It's just how it is. Anyway, here's a good spot also to set your phone sideways if you want. You know, long way, if it will fit in here. Mine barely does with the case. It kind of sticks up a little bit. It's not as good for that. But if you have a smaller phone, it'll fit. Here is drink holders. Nice and clear, nothing blocking them, but you can't get a fat one in here. So if you get one of those like big, like the I don't know, 32 ounce or whatever size they are, it won't fit in this one as well because the edge will try to rub against here, but it will fit up here just fine. Anyway, and then right here is a big storage box, and that's it. It's just some storage. Other packages will have things like USBs over there, but not in this one. But it's a good size felt line kind of a storage, useful. Felt bottom, not felt lined. Anyway, seating. So this is a faux leather. Really pretty seating though, feels really good. I like the seating in here. Bolsters are good. Could be a little more, but you don't really need it. It just would feel better to me if it had a little more, you know, just for the spirited driving aspects. But, you know, the usual Volkswagen interior, it's Teutonic, so very function makes the form. It's a Volkswagen thing, and you can see, you know, this faux kind of carbon fiber aluminum look thing, and the way it just kind of flows down and does its thing, right? There's no like it's very minimalist. So nicely done though. I like the way that the color tones change. So it's actually a darker color down here than up here, and you don't notice that unless you really look for it. And then you see that carpeting and stuff and the rubber mats and whatever, they're actually a darker tone than up here. And then you can see how the lighting just changes the two colors here, even though they are the same. And then you have the cream, which is what's helping some of that, kind of just lifting away that just black and blacks thing. So it's very nicely done. The piano black really kind of accentuates. It looks good. It looks really good in here. And then going to the back seats, you can see pretty good sized back seat for a mid-sized car. I've had 3 across back there with my kids, no problems at all. I like the back seat a lot. I can fit in it when I need to, although I do get some knee cramping. It is tight in the knees for somebody my size if the front seats are back. So other than that though, it's not too bad at all. Now let's have a look at the Monroney. I'll show this to you really quick. It's about $24,000 for the Jetta R Line. This has the 1.4 liter turbo and that 6-speed manual transmission. It's front wheel drive, etc., etc. I really like this car for this price. 40 miles a gallon on the highway, a little bit tough to achieve that. It takes a little bit of work, but not much. I mean, if you're good at running this shifter, you will get 40 miles a gallon if you're also good at not goosing the throttle. My average was actually 38. So my freeway average was 38 miles a gallon. That's not bad at all, considering this is very high altitude here at 6,400 feet and 80 mile an hour freeway speed limit. So yeah, it's very, very easy to get 40 miles a gallon if you try for it. So yeah, I got 38 as an average, but I did achieve 40 when I really worked at it. So there you go. That's pretty much all I've got. This is the 2020 Volkswagen Jetta R Line. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon. Subscribe.